What if the secret to success isn't talent, luck, or motivation, but discipline? This audiobook reveals the hidden power that separates the world's highest achievers from everyone else. Master self-control, break bad habits, and rewire your mind for unstoppable success. Your transformation starts now. Introduction. If you've ever felt like success is just out of reach, like no matter how hard you try, you always fall short of your goals, you're not alone. The truth is, most people never accomplish what they truly want, not because they aren't smart enough, talented enough, or lucky enough, but because they lack one crucial ingredient: discipline. For decades, we've been fed a dangerous lie that success is about motivation, that we just need to find our passion or wait for the right moment to take action. The self-help industry thrives on this illusion, promising quick hacks, shortcuts, and overnight success stories. But the harsh reality is this: motivation is fleeting, and talent means nothing without the discipline to back it up. The most successful people in the world, from top athletes and CEOs to best-selling authors and billionaires, aren't driven by motivation. They are driven by discipline. Think about it. How many times have you started something with enthusiasm only to give up weeks later? How often have you made ambitious plans, set exciting goals, only to fall back into old habits? The reason isn't that you're lazy or incapable. It's because motivation is unreliable. It comes in bursts and disappears just as quickly. Discipline, on the other hand, is what keeps you going when motivation runs out. It is what separates the people who achieve greatness from those who stay stuck in mediocrity. But here's the best part. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is a skill that can be learned, developed, and strengthened over time. No matter where you are in life, no matter how many times you've failed before, you can build unshakable discipline and completely transform your future. And this book is going to show you exactly how. What is self-discipline, and why does it matter? Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's about forcing yourself to do things you hate, about suffering, restriction, and sacrifice. But real discipline isn't about punishment. It's about freedom. It is about training your mind and body to do what's best for you, even when you don't feel like it. When you master discipline, you gain control over your actions, your emotions, and ultimately, your life. Imagine waking up every morning feeling focused and unstoppable. Imagine setting a goal and actually following through, no matter what obstacles arise. Imagine becoming the kind of person who doesn't procrastinate, who doesn't get distracted, who doesn't make excuses. That is the power of discipline. It turns dreams into reality by making consistent action effortless. Studies have shown that self-discipline is one of the strongest predictors of success, more than intelligence, talent, or even financial background. In a famous study at Stanford University, researchers tested a group of children with a simple experiment. They placed a marshmallow in front of each child and told them they could either eat it immediately or wait 15 minutes and receive 2 marshmallows instead. Years later, the researchers followed up with the participants and discovered something shocking. The children who were able to delay gratification and wait for the second marshmallow were significantly more successful in life. They had better grades, higher incomes, healthier relationships, and greater levels of happiness. Why? Because they had self-discipline, the ability to control impulses, delay gratification, and stick to long-term goals. This is the same trait that separates Olympic athletes from amateurs, self-made millionaires from broke dreamers, and high achievers from those who struggle their entire lives. The good news? You can train yourself to have this same level of discipline, no matter where you're starting from. Common myths about willpower and motivation. Before we dive into how to build unshakable discipline, we need to break down some of the most harmful myths that keep people stuck in cycles of failure. Myth number 1, discipline is about willpower. Many people believe that discipline is about sheer willpower, that if you're strong enough, you can force yourself to do anything. But willpower is like a muscle. It gets exhausted. If you rely solely on willpower to stay disciplined, you will fail because you're constantly draining your energy. That's why even the most successful people don't rely on willpower alone. Instead, they create habits, routines, and systems that make discipline automatic. Myth number 2. Successful people are just more motivated. Another dangerous myth is that successful people simply have more motivation than the rest of us. The truth? They don't. The difference is that they don't wait for motivation to act. They don't need to feel like it to get things done. They have trained themselves to take action no matter what. They have mastered the art of showing up every day, whether they feel inspired or not. Myth 3. Discipline means sacrificing happiness. Some people fear that being disciplined means giving up fun, freedom, and happiness. But the opposite is true. A lack of discipline leads to stress, anxiety, and regret, because you're constantly falling behind, breaking promises to yourself, and failing to reach your potential. True discipline, on the other hand, brings peace of mind and confidence. When you are in control of your actions, when you know you can trust yourself to follow through, life becomes easier, not harder. What this book will teach you. This book isn't about forcing yourself to work harder or punishing yourself for failing. It's about learning how to master discipline in a way that makes success effortless. You'll discover proven techniques used by the world's highest achievers, backed by psychology, neuroscience, and real-world case studies. Each chapter will guide you step by step through the process of transforming your habits, mindset, and environment so that discipline becomes second nature. Here's a sneak peek of what you'll learn. The psychology of discipline, why we struggle with self-control, and how to rewire your brain for success. How to break bad habits. The secret to eliminating distractions and overcoming procrastination for good. Building a bulletproof routine. How to create daily habits that make discipline automatic. The power of identity shifts. How to change your self-image so that discipline is effortless. The science of willpower. How to make self-control easy and avoid burnout. Overcoming resistance. How to push through discomfort and build mental toughness. The long-term game. How to sustain discipline for years and make success inevitable. By the end of this book, you won't just know how to be disciplined. You will have transformed into the kind of person who naturally takes action, follows through, and succeeds at anything you set your mind to. Are you ready to master discipline? Success isn't reserved for the lucky or the talented. It belongs to those who master discipline. And now it's your turn. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You don't need more motivation. You just need to start. If you commit to applying what you learn in this book, your life will never be the same. You'll finally break free from procrastination, self-doubt, and inconsistency. You'll build the habits, mindset, and systems that make success inevitable. So let's begin. Your transformation starts now. Chapter 1. The Science of Self-Discipline. Rewiring your brain for success. Why some people succeed while others struggle. Success is not a mystery. It's not reserved for a chosen few who are born with extraordinary talent, nor is it dictated by luck or intelligence. If that were the case, then why do so many incredibly talented, intelligent people struggle to get ahead while others, with seemingly fewer natural advantages, rise to the top? The answer lies in a quality far more powerful than talent, intelligence, or luck. It is self-discipline. Most people believe that success is driven by motivation, as if a magical burst of inspiration will propel them toward their goals. But motivation is unreliable, fleeting, and inconsistent. Some days, you feel unstoppable. Other days, you can barely pull yourself out of bed. Those who achieve great things in life understand this fundamental truth. Success is not about motivation. It's about discipline. The ability to take action even when you don't feel like it is the single greatest skill that separates high achievers from those who stay stuck in mediocrity. Self-discipline is the foundation of every success story. The world's top athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders don't rely on bursts of motivation. They have trained themselves to do what needs to be done, regardless of how they feel in the moment. They have mastered the ability to resist temptations, delay gratification, and push through discomfort. The good news? Self-discipline is not an innate trait. It's a skill you can develop. In this chapter, we will dive deep into the science of self-discipline, exploring how your brain is wired, why you struggle with willpower, and how you can train yourself to be disciplined even when every fiber of your being wants to give up. By the end of this chapter, you will have practical science-backed strategies to take control of your mind and start making real progress toward your biggest goals. The battle between your two brains. Why discipline feels so hard. Every time you set a goal, whether it's waking up early, going to the gym, or starting a new habit, you are engaging in an internal battle between two competing forces within your brain. This ongoing struggle explains why some days you feel highly disciplined and other days you cave into distractions and temptations. The reason self-discipline feels like a constant battle is that your brain is divided into two opposing systems. The primitive brain, the instinctive, impulsive you. This is the limbic system, often referred to as the reptilian brain. It is responsible for emotions, cravings, and survival instincts. It wants instant gratification, whether that means sleeping in, indulging in junk food, or scrolling through social media instead of working. This part of your brain operates on impulse and is driven by short-term pleasure. The logical brain, the disciplined, future-focused you. This is your prefrontal cortex, the most advanced part of your brain. It is responsible for rational thinking, long-term planning, and self-discipline. This is the part of your brain that sets goals, understands the value of hard work, and envisions a better future. It tells you to exercise even when you don't feel like it, and to stay focused on your work instead of giving in to distractions. The challenge is that your primitive brain reacts much faster than your logical brain. This is why self-discipline feels difficult. It's not because you lack willpower, but because your brain is wired to prioritize survival and comfort over long-term goals. The key to mastering self-discipline is training your logical brain to override your impulses consistently. The willpower muscle. How to strengthen your self-control. Self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But just like any muscle, if you don't train it, it weakens. Scientists have discovered that willpower functions like a battery. It can be depleted, but it can also be recharged and strengthened over time. In a famous study, researchers tested willpower by placing fresh-baked cookies in front of two groups. One group was allowed to eat the cookies, while the other had to resist. Afterward, both groups were given a challenging puzzle to solve. The group that resisted the cookies gave up on the puzzle much faster, proving that willpower is a limited resource. It can be drained when overused. However, just like lifting weights at the gym makes your muscles stronger, small acts of self-control can strengthen your discipline over time. Training your mind to make disciplined choices consistently will rewire your brain to favor long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. How to train your brain for discipline. 1. Start small and build momentum. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to overhaul their entire life overnight. Extreme changes are overwhelming and almost always lead to burnout. Instead, start with tiny acts of discipline that seem almost too easy to fail. If you want to build a morning routine, Start by simply waking up 5 minutes earlier. If you want to exercise regularly, start with 5 minutes of stretching. Small successes build confidence and make it easier to take on bigger challenges over time. 2. Reduce decision fatigue. Every decision you make drains your willpower. The more choices you have to make throughout the day, the weaker your self-discipline becomes. This is why highly successful people streamline their routines. Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfits every day to save mental energy for more important decisions. Simplify your life by creating habits that remove unnecessary choices, such as preparing your meals in advance or setting a fixed time for workouts. 3. Use the 5-minute rule. When you don't feel like doing something, commit to doing it for just 5 minutes. Often, the hardest part is starting. Once you begin, momentum takes over, and you're far more likely to keep going. This trick works for anything: writing, exercising, or tackling a difficult task at work. 4. Make discipline your default mode. The more you resist temptation, the easier it becomes. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your logical brain. Over time, these choices become automatic. Successful people don't have superhuman willpower. They have trained themselves to make discipline their default setting. Now that you understand how discipline works, you have a choice. Continue living on autopilot, allowing distractions and impulses to control your life, or take charge and train your mind for success. The first step is simple but powerful. Start with one small act of discipline today. Pick a tiny habit, something so easy you can't fail, and commit to it for a week. It could be drinking a glass of water every morning, reading for 5 minutes a day, or waking up just 10 minutes earlier. Discipline is built one decision at a time, and the sooner you start, the sooner you'll transform your life. Chapter 2. The Psychology Behind Self-Discipline: How to Rewire Your Mind for Unbreakable Willpower. Every action you take, every habit you form, and every goal you either achieve or abandon is determined by a silent force operating in the background: your psychology. Most people assume that discipline is simply about forcing yourself to do things you don't feel like doing. While that's partly true, the real secret to self-discipline lies in understanding how your mind works and using that knowledge to your advantage. The human brain is designed for efficiency, and one of its core principles is to conserve energy. This is why it prefers habits over conscious decision-making, because habits require significantly less mental effort. Every time you have to decide whether to go to the gym or stay home, your brain experiences a small energy drain. If you constantly have to exert willpower for every disciplined action, you will eventually burn out. The key to long-term success is not to rely solely on willpower, but to rewire your brain so that discipline becomes automatic. Many people fail at developing self-discipline because they assume they need superhuman self-control to resist temptations. The truth is, the most disciplined people in the world don't struggle as much as you think. They have simply mastered the art of habit formation and mental conditioning. Their brains are wired to prefer productive choices over destructive ones. Instead of fighting against their own impulses, they have trained their minds to work with them. In this chapter, we will explore the deep psychological mechanisms behind self-discipline, uncover why some people seem to have more willpower than others, and provide powerful, science-backed strategies to help you rewire your brain for long-term success. If you've ever felt like self-discipline is an uphill battle, prepare to see it in an entirely new light. The habit loop: how your brain forms and breaks habits. Self-discipline isn't about sheer willpower. It's about habit formation. Every action you take consistently, whether good or bad, follows a psychological pattern known as the habit loop. This loop consists of 3 main parts. 1. The cue, trigger that starts the habit. A cue is anything that triggers your brain to begin a habit. It could be a time of day, an emotion, a location, or even another habit. For example, if you always snack when you watch TV, the act of turning on the television becomes your cue. 2. The routine, the habit itself. This is the actual behavior you perform, whether it's eating junk food, scrolling on your phone, or hitting the gym. Your brain doesn't differentiate between good and bad habits. It simply follows the routine that has been reinforced the most. 3. The reward, why your brain keeps doing it. Every habit provides some form of reward, which is why it continues. Sometimes the reward is immediate pleasure, like the taste of sugary food. Other times it's relief, like procrastinating on a difficult task to avoid stress. The brain craves rewards, which is why breaking bad habits feels difficult. You are conditioned to seek the pleasure they provide. The key to mastering self-discipline is to hack this loop by replacing negative routines with positive ones while keeping the same cues and rewards. Instead of relying on motivation, you train your brain to follow automated patterns that work in your favor. Why your brain resists discipline and how to fix it. Self-discipline feels difficult because your brain has evolved to prioritize comfort, pleasure, and energy conservation. This is a survival mechanism that helped our ancestors stay alive, but in today's world, it often works against us. The brain constantly scans for the easiest and most pleasurable option, which is why it prefers immediate gratification over long-term rewards. This preference for short-term pleasure is driven by a chemical called dopamine, which is released when you anticipate or experience a reward. Every time you eat junk food, scroll through social media, or procrastinate on a task, your brain releases dopamine, reinforcing the behavior. Over time, your brain becomes wired to seek quick dopamine hits, making it harder to stay disciplined. The solution is dopamine rewiring, a process where you train your brain to associate discipline with pleasure rather than pain. You can do this by reducing unhealthy dopamine sources, such as excessive social media, processed sugar, and mindless entertainment, while increasing dopamine from productive activities like exercise, deep work, and learning new skills. Eventually, your brain will start craving the actions that lead to long-term success instead of short-term pleasure. The pain and pleasure principle. How to make discipline effortless. One of the most powerful psychological forces that drive human behavior is the pain and pleasure principle. This principle states that people are motivated by two things. 1. The desire to avoid pain. 2. The desire to gain pleasure. Most people struggle with self-discipline because they associate disciplined actions with pain and distractions with pleasure. They view exercise as exhausting, waking up early as torture, and working on their goals as stressful. Meanwhile, they see scrolling on their phone, eating unhealthy food, and avoiding difficult tasks as pleasurable. To master self-discipline, you need to reverse these associations. You must train your mind to see procrastination as painful and productivity as pleasurable. You can do this by making bad habits harder to indulge in, while making disciplined choices more rewarding. For example, if you struggle with phone addiction, leave your phone in another room while working. If you want to develop a gym habit, reward yourself with something positive, like listening to your favorite music immediately after a workout. Over time, your brain will start craving the new rewards instead of the old destructive habits. How to rewire your mind for automatic discipline. 1. Identify your cues and replace your routine. If you have a bad habit, identify what triggers it and replace the routine. If you always check your phone when bored, replace it with reading a book or doing a quick stretch. Keep the cue and reward the same, but swap out the harmful routine. 2. Use implementation intentions to automate discipline. People fail at discipline because they rely on vague goals like, I'll work out more or I'll be more productive. Instead, use a specific plan. I will exercise for 30 minutes at 7 a.m. in my home gym. When discipline is tied to a concrete action, it becomes much easier to follow. 3. Make discipline the path of least resistance. We naturally take the path of least resistance. If unhealthy food is easily accessible, you'll eat it. If social media is one tap away, you'll waste hours on it. Instead, make bad habits difficult and discipline effortless. Remove temptations and set up systems that make productive actions automatic. The secret to effortless self-discipline lies in understanding your mind's natural tendencies and training it to work for you instead of against you. You don't need extreme willpower. You need the right mental conditioning. By rewiring your brain through habit formation, dopamine control, and the pain-pleasure principle, you can transform discipline from a struggle into a natural way of life. Your challenge today is simple. Pick one small change to start rewiring your habits, whether it's replacing a negative routine, reducing unhealthy dopamine sources, or using implementation intentions. Take action now. Success is built on daily choices, and today is your opportunity to take control. Chapter 3. The Neuroscience of Self-Discipline. How to rewire your brain for laser-focused control. Why some people are more disciplined than others. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have an iron will, pushing through obstacles with unshakable determination, while others constantly struggle with distractions, procrastination, and a lack of follow-through? What separates someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. to work out from someone who repeatedly hits the snooze button? Is it sheer willpower? Luck? Genetic superiority? The answer is far more scientific and far more controllable than you might think. At the core of self-discipline lies your brain's neurobiology, a complex system of neural connections, chemical messengers, and cognitive functions that dictate your ability to resist temptation, delay gratification, and stay committed to long-term goals. The fascinating truth is that self-discipline is not just a mindset. It's a physical process that takes place inside your brain. Every time you resist a craving, choose work over distraction, or push through discomfort, you are literally rewiring your brain for greater self-control. Most people assume that their habits and tendencies are fixed, that if they struggle with focus, laziness, or inconsistency, that's just the way they are. But this is a massive misunderstanding of how the brain works. Thanks to a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity, your brain is constantly adapting and changing based on your thoughts, actions, and repeated behaviors. This means that self-discipline is not something you either have or don't have. It's something you can train and strengthen, just like a muscle. In this chapter, we are going to take a deep dive into the neuroscience of self-discipline, exploring exactly how your brain processes willpower, how to physically rewire your neural pathways for success, and how to use cutting-edge scientific strategies to develop an unbreakable sense of control over your actions and habits. If you've ever felt like discipline is a battle you can't win, prepare to see it in an entirely new light. The prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain. Your brain is made up of many different regions, each responsible for specific functions. When it comes to self-discipline, the most important part of your brain is the prefrontal cortex, the area located right behind your forehead. This region acts as the CEO of your brain, responsible for rational thinking, decision-making, impulse control, and long-term planning. Every time you choose to resist a distraction, push through discomfort, or stay focused on your goals, you are activating your prefrontal cortex. The stronger this area becomes, the easier it is to maintain discipline. However, if your prefrontal cortex is weak due to stress, poor habits, or lack of training, you will struggle with self-control, making it nearly impossible to stay committed to your goals. The good news is that the prefrontal cortex can be strengthened and optimized through targeted strategies. Just like exercising a muscle in the gym, The more you train your self-discipline, the stronger your prefrontal cortex becomes, making discipline feel effortless over time. The battle between instant gratification and long-term success. While your prefrontal cortex is responsible for discipline and rational thinking, another part of your brain is constantly fighting against it, the limbic system. This is the primitive, emotional part of your brain that seeks pleasure, avoids pain, and craves instant gratification. It is the reason why you would rather binge watch Netflix than work on your side project, eat junk food instead of a healthy meal, or stay in bed instead of exercising. The limbic system operates on a reward-based feedback loop, driven by a chemical called dopamine. Every time you do something pleasurable, like eating a cookie, checking social media, or playing video games, your brain releases dopamine, reinforcing the behavior and making you want to repeat it. Over time, this creates strong neural pathways that make bad habits feel automatic and difficult to break. The key to mastering self-discipline is learning how to hijack your brain's dopamine system, retraining it to crave productive behaviors instead of destructive ones. By controlling the way your brain processes rewards, you can make discipline feel just as satisfying as instant gratification. How to rewire your brain for discipline. 1. Strengthen your prefrontal cortex with mindfulness and meditation. Scientific research has shown that practicing mindfulness meditation can significantly strengthen the prefrontal cortex, improving focus, impulse control, and emotional regulation. Just 10 minutes of daily meditation can enhance your brain's ability to resist distractions and stay disciplined. 2. Delay gratification to build stronger neural pathways. The famous Marshmallow experiment conducted at Stanford University revealed that children who were able to delay gratification, choosing to wait 15 minutes for a bigger reward instead of taking an immediate smaller one, grew up to be more successful, disciplined, and goal-oriented. The ability to delay gratification is a muscle you can train by intentionally resisting small temptations daily, such as waiting 5 extra minutes before eating dessert or postponing social media use until after completing a task. 3. Use temptation bundling to trick your brain into enjoying discipline. A powerful neuroscience-backed strategy to increase discipline is temptation bundling, pairing a task you dislike with something you enjoy. For example, only allowing yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while exercising or drinking your favorite coffee while working on a difficult project. This hacks your dopamine system, making disciplined activities more pleasurable. 4. Remove environmental triggers that weaken your willpower. Your brain is highly influenced by its environment. If you surround yourself with distractions, temptations, and negative influences, self-discipline becomes nearly impossible. Remove triggers like junk food, social media notifications, and unproductive influences from your surroundings, making discipline the path of least resistance. 5. Train your brain with micro-discipline challenges. One of the fastest ways to build self-discipline is by engaging in small controlled challenges that strengthen your willpower over time. Examples include taking cold showers, fasting for a few hours longer than usual, or setting a timer to focus on deep work without any distractions. These challenges train your brain to embrace discomfort, making discipline second nature. The science is clear. Self-discipline is not a personality trait. It's a trainable skill. By understanding the way your brain processes willpower, rewards, and habits, you can take full control of your actions, decisions, and long-term success. The most successful people in the world are not naturally more disciplined. They have simply learned how to rewire their brain to prioritize long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. Your challenge today is to start training your brain for discipline. Pick one neuroscience-backed strategy from this chapter and apply it immediately. Whether it's practicing mindfulness, delaying gratification, or restructuring your environment for success, start rewiring your brain today. Chapter 4. The the hidden habits of highly disciplined people, how to think, act, and operate like the world's most focused individuals. Why do some people seem unstoppable while others struggle? Have you ever wondered why some people wake up at 5 a.m., exercise daily, complete their work with laser-like focus, and never seem to waver in their discipline, while others repeatedly hit the snooze button, procrastinate on important tasks, and struggle to maintain consistency? It might seem like some people are naturally wired for discipline, while others are doomed to struggle forever. But here's the truth. Self-discipline is not an inborn trait. It's a set of habits that anyone can adopt. The most disciplined individuals in the world, from elite athletes to successful entrepreneurs, aren't necessarily stronger, smarter, or more talented than everyone else. They simply have a different set of daily habits that allow them to operate at a level most people can't sustain. These habits aren't just about productivity. They shape the very foundation of their thinking, decision-making, and approach to challenges. If you've ever felt like you lack discipline, it's not because you're incapable. It's because you haven't yet adopted the habits that make discipline second nature. In this chapter, we'll uncover the hidden daily rituals and mental frameworks that allow highly disciplined people to dominate their fields, achieve extraordinary results, and maintain an unstoppable work ethic. By the end of this chapter, you'll not only understand what these habits are, but also how to incorporate them into your own life to transform your level of self-discipline permanently. Habit number 1, they have a non-negotiable morning routine. One of the most defining traits of highly disciplined individuals is their structured and intentional morning routine. How you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Undisciplined people wake up without a plan, hitting snooze multiple times, checking their phones first thing in the morning, and starting their day in reactive mode, already behind before it even begins. Disciplined individuals, on the other hand, wake up with a purpose. Their mornings are designed to maximize mental clarity, energy, and focus, ensuring they start their day in control rather than in chaos. A powerful morning routine doesn't have to be complicated, but it must be intentional. Most highly disciplined people follow a structure that includes waking up at the same time every day, regardless of how they feel. Engaging in physical movement, whether it's a full workout, stretching, or a short walk to get the blood flowing. Avoiding their phone and social media for at least the first hour, protecting their mental space from distractions. Practicing some form of mindfulness or reflection, such as journaling, meditation, or reviewing their goals. Consuming something positive, whether it's reading a few pages of a book, listening to a podcast, or reviewing their plan for the day. By starting the day with structure and purpose, disciplined people don't just hope to be productive. They set themselves up for success before the day even begins. Habit number 2, they prioritize deep work over shallow work. In today's world of constant distractions, most people operate in a state of reaction rather than intention. They check emails every 5 minutes, scroll social media throughout the day, and jump from task to task without clear focus. Highly disciplined individuals, however, understand that real progress comes from deep work. Focused, uninterrupted periods of high-level effort, coined by author Cal Newport, deep work is the ability to focus without distractions on cognitively demanding tasks. The most disciplined people protect their deep work time ruthlessly, often dedicating the first half of their day to their most important projects. This means eliminating distractions by turning off notifications, setting their phone to Do Not Disturb, and working in a quiet environment. Time blocking their schedule, assigning dedicated time slots for focused work rather than leaving it up to chance. Batching similar tasks together so they don't waste mental energy switching between unrelated activities. Saying no more often, prioritizing their most important goals over unnecessary obligations. Deep work is a superpower in a distracted world. While most people are busy but not productive, disciplined individuals produce high-quality work in shorter periods, allowing them to achieve more with less effort. Habit number 3. They embrace discomfort and seek out challenges. The most disciplined people don't avoid discomfort, they lean into it. They understand that growth comes from doing things that are difficult, uncomfortable, and even painful. While most people seek ease and convenience, disciplined individuals actively seek out hard things because they know that's where real progress happens. This means they challenge themselves daily, whether through physical exercise, learning a new skill, or pushing their mental limits. Develop mental toughness by intentionally putting themselves in uncomfortable situations, such as cold showers, fasting, or public speaking. Reframe failure as feedback, seeing obstacles as opportunities rather than setbacks. Build resilience by refusing to let short-term discomfort dictate their long-term success. The ability to embrace discomfort is a key separator between those who stay stagnant and those who achieve greatness. Habit 4. They maintain a relentless focus on long-term goals. Highly disciplined people don't just think about what they want today. They operate with a vision for the next 5, 10, or even 20 years. They understand that short-term sacrifices lead to long-term rewards, which is why they don't get easily distracted by temporary pleasures. They write down their long-term goals regularly, reinforcing their commitment. Break big goals into smaller, manageable steps, ensuring consistent progress. Measure their progress and track their habits, staying accountable to their future self. Surround themselves with people who push them forward, cutting out negative influences that pull them off course. Their ability to stay focused on the big picture is what allows them to stay disciplined even when motivation fades. The truth about self-discipline is that it's not about motivation. It's about systems, habits, and intentional choices. Highly disciplined people aren't necessarily more motivated than others. They simply design their lives in a way that makes discipline inevitable. They don't rely on willpower alone. They build structures that support their success. Your challenge today is simple. Adopt one of these habits immediately. Whether it's establishing a morning routine, prioritizing deep work, embracing discomfort, or setting long-term goals, start implementing one small but powerful change. The key to discipline is consistency, and every action you take moves you closer to becoming the most disciplined version of yourself. Chapter 5. The Science of Habit Formation. How to rewire your behavior for discipline that sticks. Why do some people build good habits effortlessly while others struggle? Have you ever tried to build a new habit? Whether it's waking up early, going to the gym, reading more, or cutting back on social media, only to find yourself falling back into old routines after just a few days? You're not alone. Most people fail to build lasting habits, not because they lack motivation, but because they don't understand the science of habit formation. Contrary to popular belief, self-discipline is not about forcing yourself to do hard things through sheer willpower. Willpower is a limited resource, and relying on it alone leads to burnout and inconsistency. The most disciplined people in the world don't wake up every day fighting themselves to do the right thing. Instead, they've rewired their brains to make disciplined behaviors automatic. They don't struggle to exercise, focus, or wake up early because those actions have become ingrained habits, running on autopilot. If you've ever felt like discipline is an uphill battle, it's because your habits are working against you instead of for you. The good news? Habits can be hacked, optimized, and intentionally designed. In this chapter, we'll break down the neuroscience of habit formation, teaching you how to rewire your brain step by step, so discipline becomes effortless. By the end of this chapter, you'll know exactly how to create habits that stick for life. How habits are formed in the brain. At the core of every habit whether good or bad, is a neurological loop made up of three key components: cue, trigger, the event or situation that signals your brain to start the habit; routine, behavior, the actual habit or action you perform; reward, pleasure or relief, the positive outcome that reinforces the habit. Let's take checking your phone as an example. The cue might be a notification sound. The routine is grabbing your phone and scrolling through social media. The reward is the small dopamine rush you get from seeing new messages or updates. This loop repeats until the behavior becomes second nature, making it difficult to stop, even when you know it's hurting your productivity. The key to mastering discipline is hijacking this habit loop and intentionally designing new habits that reinforce self-control instead of sabotage it. Step 1. Make good habits easy and bad habits hard. Most people struggle with discipline because their environment is designed for failure. If you want to build good habits, you need to remove friction from positive behaviors while adding friction to bad ones. For example, if you want to exercise more, lay out your workout clothes the night before and place them next to your bed. If you want to read more, put books in visible places while keeping your phone in another room. If you want to cut back on social media, delete apps from your phone or install website blockers. The easier a habit is to start, the more likely you are to do it. Likewise, making bad habits more difficult reduces their power over you. If you struggle with junk food, don't keep it in your house. If you spend too much time watching TV, remove the remote batteries or unplug it after use. Small changes in your environment can lead to massive improvements in self-discipline. Step 2. Use the 2-minute rule to overcome resistance. Most people fail to stick to new habits because they set the bar too high. If you've ever told yourself, "I'm going to start working out for an hour every day," only to quit after a week, it's because your habit was too ambitious at the start. Your brain resists big changes, but it accepts small ones. The 2-minute rule states that when starting a new habit, it should take no longer than 2 minutes to complete. Instead of aiming to read for an hour, start by reading 1 page. Instead of committing to going to the gym 5 days a week, start by doing 1 push-up. The idea is to make the habit so easy that it's impossible to fail. Once the habit is established, it naturally expands. That 1 page turns into a chapter, and that 1 push-up turns into a full workout. The key is to lower the resistance so momentum can build over time. Step 3. Use immediate rewards to reinforce discipline. Your brain is wired to seek immediate gratification, which is why it's so hard to stick to long-term goals. To make discipline easier, you need to attach immediate rewards to good habits so your brain learns to associate them with pleasure. For example, if you complete a deep work session, treat yourself to a small break with music or a healthy snack. If you finish a tough workout, mark it on a progress chart to see your streak growing. If you resist the urge to procrastinate, give yourself a mental win by celebrating the action. When your brain links discipline to positive reinforcement, it becomes easier to sustain over time. Step 4. Stack new habits on to existing ones. One of the most powerful habit-building strategies is habit stacking, where you attach a new habit to something you already do regularly. This removes the need for extra willpower because the habit becomes linked to an existing routine. For example, after brushing your teeth, do 5 push-ups. After making coffee, read 1 page of a book. After finishing a meeting, take 5 deep breaths. By linking habits together, your brain automatically associates them, making it easier to stick with them long-term. Step 5. Track progress and use the never miss twice rule. What gets measured improves. Highly disciplined people track their habits so they can see real progress over time. Using a habit tracker, journal, or app helps keep accountability and motivation high. However, everyone misses a day occasionally. The key is to follow the never miss twice rule. If you skip a habit once, get back on track immediately. Missing one day won't ruin progress, but missing two creates negative momentum. By focusing on consistency over perfection, habits become unshakable. At its core, self-discipline isn't about forcing yourself to work harder. It's about designing better habits. The most disciplined people don't wake up debating whether to work out, focus, or eat healthily. They've built systems that make discipline effortless. By using the science-backed strategies in this chapter, removing friction, starting small, reinforcing rewards, stacking habits, and tracking progress, you can rewire your brain so that self-discipline becomes automatic. Your challenge today: pick one of these strategies and apply it immediately. Whether it's adjusting your environment, starting with 2 minutes, or tracking progress, take action now. The sooner you start building better habits, the faster discipline will become second nature. Chapter 6: How to Destroy Procrastination Forever. Mastering the Art of Taking Action. Why do we delay what matters most? You wake up with a plan. Today is the day you tackle that big project. Go to the gym, write that report, or finally start working toward that dream you've been putting off for weeks, months, maybe even years. You tell yourself that this time will be different, that you're serious about getting things done. But before you know it, the hours slip by. You check your phone, scroll through social media, reply to messages, watch a few YouTube videos, and suddenly, the day is gone. The important task still looms over you, untouched. You feel guilty, frustrated, maybe even ashamed, and you promise yourself that tomorrow will be better. But deep down, you fear the cycle will repeat itself. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Procrastination is a universal struggle affecting students, entrepreneurs, professionals, and creatives alike. Even highly successful people battle it, but the difference is that they've learned to control it before it controls them. The truth is, procrastination has nothing to do with laziness or lack of discipline. It is a battle between short-term comfort and long-term success, between immediate gratification and delayed rewards. It is a deeply ingrained habit that stems from our brain's instinct to avoid discomfort and seek pleasure. But here's the good news. Procrastination is not an unchangeable part of your personality. It's a mental habit. And just like any habit, it can be rewired. In this chapter, we will break down why procrastination happens, how your brain works against you, and how to take back control. You will learn the most powerful, science-backed strategies that top performers use to take action immediately, regardless of how they feel. By the end of this chapter, you will have a system to eliminate procrastination forever. The science behind procrastination. Why your brain fights discipline. Understanding procrastination requires understanding how your brain is wired. Your brain operates on two competing forces: the primitive limbic system and the logical prefrontal cortex. The limbic system is responsible for instant gratification and avoiding discomfort, while the prefrontal cortex governs rational thinking, self-discipline, and long-term planning. When you face a difficult task, your limbic system sees it as a threat, not a physical danger, but an emotional one. Fear of failure, stress, boredom, or even self-doubt. To protect you, your brain looks for an easy escape. This is why, when faced with an important but difficult task, you suddenly feel the urge to check your phone, tidy up, or distract yourself with something more enjoyable. The limbic system wins the battle and the task remains undone. The key to overcoming procrastination is learning how to override this response and put your logical brain back in charge. The most disciplined people don't rely on motivation or willpower. They create systems and strategies that force them to take action. Let's break these down step by step. Step 1. Interrupt the cycle with the 5-second rule. The first and most important step in eliminating procrastination is stopping the limbic system from taking over. The longer you wait to take action, the stronger the resistance becomes. You need a tool that interrupts hesitation before it turns into avoidance. That tool is the 5-second rule. Created by Mel Robbins, the rule is simple. The moment you feel the urge to procrastinate, count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then take action immediately. This works because it disrupts your brain's autopilot response. Instead of giving in to distractions, you force your brain to engage the prefrontal cortex, shifting your mindset from avoidance to action. Use this rule whenever you feel yourself hesitating. If you need to start a task, count down from 5 and just begin. If you need to get out of bed early, count down and sit up before you can talk yourself out of it. If you need to exercise, count down and put on your workout shoes before your brain finds excuses. The goal is to act before your mind has time to resist. Step 2. Break overwhelming tasks into micro steps. One of the biggest reasons people procrastinate is overwhelm. When a task feels too big or too complicated, the brain sees it as intimidating, triggering avoidance. The solution is to trick your brain by making the task so small that resistance disappears. This is known as the micro-wins technique. Instead of setting a huge, intimidating goal, break it into the smallest possible action. Instead of write a book, start with write 1 sentence. Instead of study for 3 hours, start with open my notebook and read 1 page. Instead of work out for an hour, commit to do 1 push-up. The trick is that once you start, momentum builds naturally. Your brain stops resisting and you keep going because the hardest part, getting started, is already done. Step 3. Set implementation intentions to remove decision fatigue. Most people think they procrastinate because they don't feel like it. In reality, they procrastinate because they haven't decided when and where they will take action. Without a clear plan, your brain keeps postponing the task because there's no set commitment. The solution is to pre-decide when and where you will do the task. This is called implementation intentions, and it follows a simple formula. I will specific task at specific time in specific location. For example, I will study for 30 minutes at 7 p.m. at my desk. I will go for a run at 6 a.m. outside my house. I will write for 20 minutes at 8 a.m. in the cafe. Studies show that people who use this technique are far more likely to follow through because their brain treats the task as a pre-committed appointment rather than a vague intention. Step 4. Use the 2-minute rule to beat resistance. If a task feels daunting, commit to just 2 minutes of effort. Tell yourself, I'll do this for just 2 minutes and then I can stop. Need to read? Read for 2 minutes? Need to write? Write for 2 minutes. Need to clean? Clean for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is easy to commit to, but once you start, you'll often keep going. The secret to productivity isn't motivation, it's just starting. Procrastination isn't a time management issue, it's an emotion management issue. Your brain will always try to take the easy route unless you override it. But now you have the tools to take control. The 5-second rule forces action before resistance kicks in. The micro-wins technique removes overwhelm. Implementation intentions eliminate decision fatigue. The 2-minute rule gets you started effortlessly. It's time to stop waiting for motivation and start taking action immediately. Pick one strategy and apply it right now. Not tomorrow, not later. Now, the moment you master the ability to take action, your life will transform in ways you never imagined. Chapter 7. How to develop laser focus in a distracted world. The war for your attention. And why you're losing. Imagine waking up one morning with a clear goal. Today, you will be productive. You will tackle your to-do list, power through work, and finally make real progress toward your dreams. But before you even start, your phone buzzes. A new notification. You pick it up just for a second, but suddenly you're scrolling through social media, checking emails, replying to messages. 30 minutes disappear in the blink of an eye. You finally sit down to work, but within minutes, a thought pops into your mind. Maybe I should check the news. You open a new tab, another distraction. The hours slip by, and by the end of the day, your most important work remains untouched. Sound familiar? If you feel like your ability to focus has been stolen, you're not imagining it. We live in an age where your attention is under attack. Tech companies, advertisers, social media platforms, and entertainment giants are all competing for your mind. Every notification, every ad, every autoplay video is designed to hijack your focus and keep you hooked. The average person checks their phone over 100 times a day. Social media, emails, and texts constantly pull us away from deep work. We live in a world designed for distraction, making it harder than ever to focus on what truly matters. But here's the truth. Focus is not something you either have or don't have. It is a skill, one that you can develop, train, and master. The most successful people in the world, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, are not superhumans with an innate ability to concentrate. They have simply learned how to control their attention instead of letting it be controlled. If you can master your focus, you can master your life. This chapter is about taking back control. We will break down the science of focus, why your brain struggles to concentrate, and the exact steps to build laser-sharp attention. If you follow these principles, you will be able to eliminate distractions, enter deep focus effortlessly, and get more done in a few hours than most people do in a week. The science of focus, how your brain works against you. To understand focus, we need to understand what's working against us. Your brain operates on two attention systems. 1. The reactive attention system, the enemy of focus. This is the part of your brain designed for survival. It scans your environment for threats and jumps between stimuli to keep you alert. This was useful in prehistoric times when early humans needed to detect dangers like predators. But in today's world, it means your brain is constantly on the lookout for new emails, notifications, or any other stimulus that pulls your focus away. 2. The focused attention system, the key to deep work. This is the part of your brain responsible for sustained concentration and deep thinking. When activated, it allows you to work on complex problems, engage in creative work, and make real progress toward meaningful goals. The problem? Modern distractions constantly activate the reactive attention system, making it nearly impossible to sustain deep work. Every time you switch tasks, checking your phone, opening a new tab, responding to a message, your brain loses momentum. Research shows that after a distraction, it takes the brain 23 minutes to fully regain focus. So, how do you fight back? You must train your brain to resist distractions and build mental endurance. Here's exactly how to do it. Step 1. Eliminate the triggers of distraction. If you want to improve your focus, the first step is to remove the things that break your concentration. Willpower alone is not enough. You need to design an environment that makes distraction impossible. Turn off notifications. Every ping, buzz, and alert hijacks your attention. Turn off all non-essential notifications on your phone and computer. Better yet, put your phone in another room when working. Use website blockers. Apps like Freedom or Cold Turkey can block distracting websites, forcing you to stay on task. Create a focus ritual. Before you start working, clear your desk, close unnecessary tabs, and set up a distraction-free workspace. Your brain will associate this ritual with deep focus. The fewer distractions you allow into your environment, the easier it becomes to concentrate. Step 2. Use the 90-minute focus block method. Your brain cannot focus indefinitely. Studies show that the optimal attention span for deep work is 90 minutes before a break is needed. To maximize productivity, use the 90-minute focus block method. 1. Set a timer for 90 minutes. Commit to focusing fully on one important task. No distractions. 2. Work in a deep, uninterrupted state. Resist the urge to check your phone, emails, or social media. 3. Take a 15-minute break. After the session, step away, walk around, and let your brain recharge. By working in focused bursts, you train your mind to concentrate deeply without burnout. Step 3. The one-tab rule for digital discipline. One of the biggest killers of focus is tab switching. You start working, but within minutes, you open a new tab, check a different task, or browse social media. Each switch costs mental energy and destroys momentum. The solution? The one-tab rule. When working, keep only one tab open, the one directly related to your task. No email, no extra windows, no distractions. If you need to reference something, write it down and check later. This simple rule eliminates mindless browsing and forces deep work. Step 4. Train your brain with attention resistance. Exercises. Focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Here are 3 scientifically proven ways to increase your ability to concentrate. 1. Daily reading sessions. Reading long-form content without distraction strengthens attention span. Start with 20 minutes a day and gradually increase. 2. Meditation for mental clarity. Just 10 minutes of meditation daily improves concentration by teaching your mind to resist distractions. 3. The Delayed Gratification Challenge. Each time you feel the urge to check your phone or switch tasks, wait 5 minutes. This trains your brain to tolerate discomfort and increases self-control. By consistently practicing these habits, your attention span will expand and distractions will lose their grip on you. We live in a world where attention is the most valuable currency. The people who master focus will achieve more in months than most do in years. Distraction is not just a minor annoyance. It is the single biggest obstacle keeping you from reaching your potential. If you can control your attention, you can control your future. Start small. Eliminate distractions. Set deep focus sessions. Train your attention daily. Over time, your ability to concentrate will become unstoppable. You will accomplish more, think clearer, and experience a level of productivity that others only dream of. The future belongs to those who can focus. Will you be one of them? Chapter 8. The Secret Power of Consistency and Why It Wins Every Time. Why most people fail and how you can be different. We love stories of overnight success. Someone wakes up one day, takes a bold step, and instantly achieves their dream. A writer publishes a book, and it becomes a bestseller. A musician releases a song, and it goes viral. An entrepreneur starts a business, and within months, they're making millions. These stories fuel our hopes, making us believe that success is just one lucky break away. But here's the truth. Overnight success is a myth. Behind every instant success is years of unseen effort, relentless discipline, and unwavering consistency. What people see is the result, not the journey. They see the final breakthrough, not the years of struggle, failure, and persistence that led to it. The world is filled with talented people who never succeed, not because they lack ability, but because they lack consistency. Most people fail, not because they aren't smart enough, skilled enough, or lucky enough, but because they lack the ability to show up every single day and put in the work, even when it's hard, boring, or inconvenient. Consistency is the real secret to mastery. It is what separates those who achieve great things from those who only dream about them. The person who works on their craft for an hour a day will always outperform the person who works in intense bursts, but then disappears for weeks. So, if you've ever wondered why some people succeed while others struggle, the answer is simple. The winners are the ones who keep going long after others have given up. This chapter is about teaching you how to develop unbreakable consistency so you can build unstoppable momentum toward your goals and make success inevitable. The science of consistency. Why repetition creates excellence. Your brain is designed to seek efficiency. It automates anything you do repeatedly so that over time, it requires less effort and energy. This is why habits form. The more you repeat a behavior, the easier it becomes. If you do something every day, it eventually feels effortless. This is how world-class athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs operate. They train their brains to make success a habit. Think about a skill you've mastered. Maybe it's driving a car, typing on a keyboard, or playing a musical instrument. At first, it felt difficult, awkward, even frustrating. But with repetition, it became second nature. This is the power of consistency. It turns difficult things into automatic skills. But here's where most people go wrong. They expect results too soon. They start working out and expect to see visible changes within a week. They start writing and expect to be great immediately. When results don't come fast enough, they quit. They don't realize that small efforts, compounded over time, lead to massive results. The greatest mistake you can make is underestimating the power of small, repeated actions. Every time you show up and put in the work, you are rewiring your brain, improving your skills, and building momentum. You may not see progress daily, but over weeks, months, and years, the difference will be undeniable. So how do you ensure you stay consistent, even when motivation fades? Here's the exact blueprint. Step 1. Start ridiculously small. The biggest mistake people make when trying to build consistency is starting too big. They decide to work out for 2 hours a day, write 2,000 words every morning, or wake up at 5 a.m. daily, only to burn out within a few weeks. The key to long-term success is starting small enough that you can't fail. Want to build a reading habit? Start with 1 page a day. Want to get in shape? Start with 5 push-ups. Want to improve your writing? Write 1 sentence per day. This may sound too easy, but that's the point. When something feels effortless, you are far more likely to stick with it. Once you establish the habit, scaling up becomes natural. Step 2. Make it stupidly easy to stick with. Your environment has a massive impact on your ability to stay consistent. If your goals require too much effort to start, you will struggle to keep going. The trick is to eliminate friction so taking action becomes effortless. Keep your workout clothes next to your bed so you don't have to search for them in the morning. Place a book on your pillow so you remember to read before sleeping. Use app blockers to remove distractions that prevent you from focusing. The easier you make it to start, the more likely you are to keep going. Step 3. Create a no excuse. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is never skipping twice in a row. Missing 1 workout, 1 writing session, or 1 productive day won't destroy your progress. But missing 2 in a row creates a pattern of inconsistency. Adopt the never miss twice rule. If you skip a day, immediately get back on track the next day. This simple principle will prevent 1 lazy day from turning into a lost week or month. Step 4. Track your progress, because what you measure improves. Tracking your progress keeps you motivated. Seeing a streak of completed tasks triggers a psychological desire to keep it going. Use a simple habit tracker or mark an X on a calendar every time you complete your habit. The goal? Don't break the chain. Psychological studies show that visible progress creates motivation, which fuels further action. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle of success. Step 5. Make it your identity. Consistency is not just about what you do. It's about who you believe yourself to be. If you identify as someone who is disciplined, reliable, and committed, your actions will naturally align with that belief. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to write every day," say, "I am a writer." Instead of saying, "I'm trying to eat healthy," say, "I am the type of person who eats nutritious food." When a behavior becomes part of your identity, it stops feeling like a chore and becomes a natural extension of who you are. If you take nothing else from this chapter, remember this: success is never about a single massive action. It is about the small, consistent efforts repeated daily. Most people quit too soon because they don't see immediate results. But those who understand the power of consistency trust the process. They know that every small action adds up. Every workout, every page read, every hour of practice moves them closer to mastery. Success is not a race, it's a marathon. If you commit to showing up every single day, you will surpass those who rely on short bursts of motivation. Your future self is the result of what you do consistently today. Build the habit of showing up, even when it's hard, and you will create unstoppable momentum toward the life you want. Chapter 9. The Art of Self-Discipline. How to Stay Committed. No matter what. Why motivation will always fail you, and what to do instead. Everyone loves the feeling of motivation, that electric spark of excitement when you're ready to take on the world. You wake up early, fueled by ambition, convinced that this time will be different. You set big goals, map out an ambitious plan, and throw yourself into action with enthusiasm. For the first few days, everything feels effortless. You stick to your workout, your study schedule, your new business idea. You tell yourself, "This is it. I'm finally going to be consistent." But then, reality sets in. You wake up one morning, and the excitement is gone. Your motivation, which felt limitless just days ago, has vanished without warning. Now your goals seem exhausting, your plans overwhelming, and your old habits start creeping back in. You tell yourself, "Maybe tomorrow," but tomorrow turns into next week, then next month. Before you realize it, you've abandoned yet another goal, leaving behind a trail of unfinished projects and broken promises to yourself. This is the brutal truth that most people never understand. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. If you rely on motivation to carry you to success, you will fail every single time. The reason? Motivation is based on emotions, and emotions are unreliable. Some days you feel inspired and unstoppable. Other days, you feel exhausted and unmotivated. If your actions are dictated by how you feel, you will never achieve anything great. Success doesn't come from occasional bursts of inspiration. It comes from doing the work even when you don't feel like it. This is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. They don't wait to feel motivated. They train themselves to take action regardless of how they feel. So, how do you develop this unshakable discipline? The ability to stay committed no matter what. That's exactly what we're about to break down. Step 1. Shift your identity. Become the kind of person who takes action. Most people make the mistake of thinking, discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. But real discipline isn't about willpower. It's about identity. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, your actions will reflect that belief. But if you become the kind of person who is disciplined, your habits will naturally align with that identity. Instead of saying, "I have to work out today," say, "I am the type of person who never skips workouts." Instead of saying, "I should wake up early," say, "I am the kind of person who values my time and starts my day with purpose." Instead of saying, "I need to be more productive," say, "I am a person who takes action no matter what." When you tie discipline to your identity, it stops being something you force yourself to do. It becomes who you are. Step 2. Eliminate the option to quit. Create a no excuses rule. Most people fail to stay consistent because quitting is always an option. They tell themselves, "I'll try my best," but deep down, they leave room for excuses. This is why you must eliminate the option to quit. Make it non-negotiable. Think about brushing your teeth. Do you ever debate whether you should do it? Number. You just do it because it's a non-negotiable part of your life. That's exactly how discipline should be. When something is truly important, you don't give yourself a choice. Want to work out every day? Make it a rule that you never skip. Want to wake up early? Set your alarm and don't hit snooze. No exceptions. Want to stay consistent with a habit? Remove the decision-making process entirely. The moment you allow yourself to negotiate, you lose. Make the decision once and commit to it completely. Step 3. Use the 2-minute rule to overcome resistance. One of the biggest challenges of self-discipline is starting. When something feels overwhelming, your brain resists. The trick? Shrink the action down to 2 minutes. If you don't feel like working out, commit to just 2 minutes of movement. If you don't feel like writing, commit to just 2 minutes of writing. If you don't feel like reading, commit to just 2 minutes of reading. Once you start, momentum kicks in, and you almost always continue beyond 2 minutes. The hardest part is just getting started, so make it as easy as possible. Step 4. Set painful consequences for not following through. Most people don't stick to their commitments because there are no real consequences for failure. If you skip a workout, nothing happens. If you procrastinate, no one punishes you. The problem? Without consequences, your brain doesn't take your goals seriously. To fix this, create immediate consequences for not following through. Tell a friend that if you don't stick to your habit, you'll owe them $50. Make a public commitment where failure would be embarrassing. Use an accountability app that donates money to a cause you hate if you don't complete your task. When you attach real consequences to failure, you create psychological pressure that forces you to take action. Step 5. Design your environment for success. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. If you keep junk food in your house, you'll eat it. If your phone is within reach, you'll scroll mindlessly. If your workspace is messy, you'll struggle to focus. The easiest way to be disciplined? Design an environment where success is the default. Want to read more? Leave books in visible places. Want to eat healthy? Keep healthy food easily accessible. Want to be productive? Remove distractions and set up a dedicated workspace. If your environment makes bad habits difficult and good habits easy, discipline becomes effortless. Most people believe that discipline is about being strong enough to resist temptation. But real discipline isn't about resisting. It's about removing the need to resist. When you change your identity, eliminate excuses, make starting easy, set consequences, and design your environment for success, you won't need motivation to take action. This is how you become the kind of person who follows through, no matter what. Your success is not determined by what you do once in a while. It's determined by what you do consistently, even on the hard days. Build the habit of showing up. Commit to taking action daily, and over time, your discipline will make success inevitable. Chapter 10. The Pain of Regret. The pain of discipline, why only one is worth it. Every single day, whether we realize it or not, we are making a choice between two types of pain. One is the short-term discomfort of discipline, the struggle of waking up early when we'd rather sleep in, the resistance of pushing through a workout when we'd rather sit on the couch, the mental effort of focusing on deep work when distractions tempt us. The other pain is far worse. It is the long, drawn-out, soul-crushing pain of regret, the feeling of looking back and knowing you could have been more, done more, achieved more. But you let excuses win. Most people choose the easy route in the moment, avoiding the temporary discomfort of discipline, only to be haunted later by the weight of regret. But here's the truth. Discipline is temporary, but regret lasts forever. Discipline may be uncomfortable, but it fades quickly, replaced by pride, progress, and growth. Regret, on the other hand, lingers, eats away at you, and becomes a permanent scar on your soul. Successful people aren't immune to struggle. They simply understand this trade-off. They know that a few moments of discomfort today will save them from a lifetime of disappointment tomorrow. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't intelligence, luck, or talent. It's the ability to endure short-term pain for long-term reward. If you can master this mindset, you will become unstoppable. So how do we train ourselves to always choose discipline over regret? Let's break it down. Step 1. Visualize your future self in pain or power. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with discipline is that they prioritize short-term comfort over long-term gain. They only see what's right in front of them. The exhaustion of waking up early, the frustration of sticking to a schedule, the difficulty of pushing through resistance. What they fail to see is the future cost of their inaction. Imagine two versions of yourself. One version, 5 years from now, has stayed disciplined. This version of you is strong, successful, confident. You have built habits that make you proud. Your bank account is healthy. Your body is in great shape. Your mind is sharp, and you wake up with excitement, knowing you've built a life that aligns with your goals. Now picture the opposite version of yourself, the one who gave in to excuses. This version is frustrated, stuck, and full of regret. They wish they had started earlier, wish they had pushed through the discomfort, wish they hadn't wasted time, but now, time is gone. This is the choice you are making right now every single day. One decision might not seem like a big deal. Skipping one workout, procrastinating on one task, hitting snooze one morning. But these small choices compound over time, shaping your future. You are either building a future you will love or a future you will regret. Every time you feel resistance, ask yourself, what would my future self want me to do? Your future self is either going to thank you or hate you. Make the choice that ensures they are grateful. Step 2. Reframe discipline as a privilege, not a punishment. Most people see discipline as something painful, something restrictive, something that takes away their freedom. But in reality, discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It is not punishment. It is an investment in yourself. Think about the most successful, happy, and fulfilled people you admire. Do you think they got there by avoiding discipline? Of course not. Discipline is the price of freedom. The more disciplined you are with your health, the more energy and strength you have to enjoy life. The more disciplined you are with your finances, the more freedom you have to travel, explore, and live on your terms. The more disciplined you are with your work, the more opportunities and success you create. Instead of saying, I have to be disciplined, start saying, I get to be disciplined. You are not suffering. You are building a life most people will never have the courage to create. Step 3. Understand that short-term pain leads to long-term pleasure. Pain and discomfort are unavoidable. But here's the key. You get to choose when you experience them. If you avoid the short-term pain of discipline, you will suffer long-term pain of regret. If you embrace the short-term pain of discipline, you will experience long-term pleasure. This is why the most successful people are willing to go through struggle. They know it leads to something greater. Think about an athlete in training. Every workout is painful. Every repetition pushes them to their limit. But when game day comes, when they win the championship, when they stand at the top of the podium, all of that temporary pain is replaced with pride, joy, and success. Now think about someone who avoids effort. They skip workouts, eat whatever they want, and choose comfort over progress. In the moment, they feel relief. But years later, they wake up sluggish, out of shape, and full of regret. The momentary comfort they chased has turned into long-term suffering. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Choose the pain that leads to power, not the pain that leads to regret. Step 4. Use the future regret test to make every decision easier. The next time you're tempted to skip a commitment, procrastinate on an important task, or take the easy way out, use this test. Pause and ask yourself, if I don't do this, how will I feel in 1 hour, 1 week, 1 year? Will skipping this workout make you proud? Will hitting snooze make you feel accomplished? Will avoiding that difficult task make your life better? If the answer is no, take action immediately. Your future self is always watching. Make sure they are proud. Step 5. Surround yourself with people who choose discipline over regret. One of the fastest ways to shift your mindset is to surround yourself with people who embody the mindset you want. If you spend time around disciplined, driven people, their habits will influence you. If you spend time around people who make excuses, complain, and avoid responsibility, you will adopt their mindset as well. Success leaves clues. Find people who are living the way you want to live and learn from them. Read their books, watch their interviews, and, if possible, build relationships with them. Your environment will either elevate you or destroy you. Choose wisely. At the end of your life, you won't regret the workouts you did, the early mornings you pushed through, the hard work you put in, but you will regret the times you gave up, the opportunities you let slip away, the potential you never reached. Discipline is temporary, but regret is forever. The choice is yours. Short-term comfort or long-term fulfillment? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? One pain lasts a moment, the other lasts a lifetime. Choose wisely. Choose discipline. Your future self is counting on you. Chapter 11. The Secret to Becoming Unstoppable. How to train your mind for total self-control. There are people in this world who seem unstoppable. No matter what challenges come their way, no matter how tired, stressed, or unmotivated they might feel, they keep moving forward. They don't rely on fleeting inspiration, nor do they make excuses. They have an iron grip on their actions, an unshakable self-discipline that allows them to rise above distractions, temptations, and setbacks. You may have seen these people, those who wake up at dawn to work out, who maintain laser-sharp focus on their goals, who resist junk food effortlessly, who remain calm under pressure, who push through discomfort without hesitation. And you may have wondered, what makes them different? How do they have such incredible self-control? The answer is simple but profound. They have trained their minds. Just like an athlete conditions their body, just like a soldier sharpens their reflexes, these individuals have built mental muscles that allow them to master self-control. But here's the best part. You can train your mind in the same way. Self-discipline is not an innate gift. It is a learned skill. If you have ever felt like you lack motivation, if you've struggled to resist temptation, if you found yourself stuck in a cycle of procrastination, know this: you are not broken. You are simply untrained. And the good news: you can train yourself to become unstoppable. This chapter is not about wishful thinking or vague theories. It is about practical, proven techniques that will rewire your brain for total self-control. By the time you finish reading, you will have a clear step-by-step system to develop unbreakable discipline, so that no matter how you feel, no matter what challenges arise, you will always take action toward your goals. Let's begin. Step 1. The identity shift. Become the person who has total self-control. Most people try to build discipline by forcing themselves to act differently. They say, I need to stop procrastinating, or I have to resist junk food, or I should wake up earlier. But they fail because they are still identifying as the person who struggles with self-control. they still see themselves as someone who is lazy, someone who lacks willpower, someone who has bad habits. And as long as your identity remains the same, your actions will always return to match it. If you want to develop unbreakable self-control, you must first change your identity. Instead of trying to force yourself into discipline, you must see yourself as someone who naturally has self-control. You must begin to think, act, and believe like a disciplined person. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to avoid distractions," say, "I am someone who stays focused." Instead of thinking, "I need to stop procrastinating," say, "I am someone who always takes action." This is a small shift, but it is incredibly powerful. When your identity changes, your actions naturally follow. Right now, take a moment to visualize the most disciplined, self-controlled version of yourself. What does this version of you look like? How do they think? How do they speak? How do they act? Every time you face a challenge, ask yourself, what would the most disciplined version of me do right now? Then do exactly that. Step 2. Rewire your brain with the 5-second rule. The greatest enemy of self-discipline is hesitation. Every time you hesitate, your brain starts looking for excuses. The longer you wait, the more likely you are to talk yourself out of taking action. This is why most people struggle. They allow their thoughts to delay them, and in that delay, resistance grows stronger. To overcome this, you must train yourself to take action instantly, before your mind has a chance to make excuses. One of the most effective tools for this is the 5-second rule, a simple but powerful technique developed by Mel Robbins. It works like this. The moment you feel resistance, count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then immediately move into action. This simple countdown breaks hesitation and forces your brain into motion. It short-circuits procrastination, eliminates overthinking, and rewires your brain for immediate discipline. Every time you feel the urge to delay, whether it's getting out of bed, starting a workout, or beginning a difficult task, use this rule. Over time, it will become automatic, and you will find yourself taking action without hesitation. Step 3. Destroy temptation by controlling your environment. Most people rely on willpower to resist temptation, but willpower is unreliable. It fluctuates based on energy, stress, and mood. The secret to true self-control is not needing willpower at all. By removing temptations from your environment entirely. For example, if you struggle with eating unhealthy food, don't keep it in your house. If you get distracted by your phone, put it in another room while you work. If you waste time on social media, install website blockers. The key is simple. Make bad habits difficult and good habits easy. Highly disciplined people don't have superhuman willpower. They just set up their environment so they don't need willpower. Make it easy to succeed and hard to fail. Step 4. Build the no matter what mentality. There will always be days when you don't feel like being disciplined. This is when most people break. They tell themselves, just this once, I'll skip my workout, or I'll start tomorrow. But this is a trap. Every time you break your commitment, you reinforce the habit of quitting. The most disciplined people in the world have a simple rule. They take action no matter what. It doesn't matter if they're tired, busy, or unmotivated. They show up anyway. You must train yourself to be the kind of person who follows through regardless of circumstances. When you make a commitment, keep it. If you say you're going to work out, do it, even if it's a short session. If you say you'll wake up early, get out of bed. No snooze button. This builds unstoppable self-trust, and over time, it becomes automatic. The ability to control your own mind, actions, and habits is the foundation of success. Every goal you have, whether it's financial success, physical health, strong relationships, or personal growth, depends on your ability to control yourself. Without self-control, you will always fall short. With it, you can achieve anything. By shifting your identity, using the 5-second rule, controlling your environment, and building a no-matter-what mentality, you will develop unshakable discipline. And once you do, you will become truly unstoppable. The only question left is, are you ready to step up? Chapter 12. The Science of Habit Mastery. How to make discipline effortless. Imagine waking up every morning feeling completely in control of your life. There's no hesitation, no internal battle between what you should do and what you actually do. Your actions flow naturally. Waking up early, exercising, working with focus, eating healthily, making wise decisions, all without needing to force yourself. Discipline is no longer a struggle. It has become second nature. This is the ultimate goal of self-discipline. Not to rely on willpower, not to fight against yourself every day, but to create habits so deeply ingrained that they become effortless. If you have ever struggled with consistency, if you've ever started something only to give up, if you've ever felt frustrated by your inability to stick to the habits you know would improve your life, then you need to understand this. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to do hard things. It's about making the right actions automatic. When you truly master the science of habits, discipline stops feeling like a battle. It becomes who you are. But most people never reach this level because they approach habit building the wrong way. They rely on motivation, they start with overwhelming goals, they fail to structure their habits correctly, and they give up when results don't come fast enough. But when you understand the neuroscience of habits and apply the right strategies, everything changes. This chapter will take you step by step through the most powerful, scientifically proven methods to make discipline effortless. By the time you finish, you will have a clear blueprint for rewiring your brain and transforming your habits permanently. Step 1. Understand the habit loop, the neuroscience behind automatic behavior. Every habit you have, whether good or bad, follows the same neurological pattern. This pattern is called the habit loop, and it consists of 3 parts. 1. Cue, a trigger that starts the habit. 2nd, routine, the action you take. 3. Reward, the benefit your brain receives, reinforcing the habit. For example, if you check your phone first thing in the morning, the cue might be waking up. The routine is grabbing your phone and scrolling, and the reward is the dopamine hit from notifications. If you understand this loop, you can rewire any habit by changing its structure. Instead of trying to eliminate bad habits through willpower, remove the cue or replace the routine with a positive action that provides a similar reward. If you want to stop checking your phone in the morning, place it in another room so the cue is removed. If you want to replace that habit, keep a journal next to your bed and write for 5 minutes upon waking. Your brain still gets the reward of a stimulating morning activity, but now it's one that benefits you. Step 2. The 2-minute rule, how to make any habit. Stick instantly. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to build habits that are too big, too fast. They say, I'll start working out for an hour every day, or I'll write 1,000 words daily, or I'll meditate for 30 minutes. But their motivation fades quickly because the habit requires too much effort in the beginning. The 2-minute rule, developed by productivity expert James Clear, eliminates this problem. The rule states, when starting a new habit, scale it down to an action that takes less than 2 minutes. Instead of, I'll read for an hour, start with, I'll read 1 page. Instead of, I'll run 3 miles, start with, I'll put on my running shoes. Instead of, I'll meditate for 30 minutes, start with, I'll sit and take 1 deep breath. Why does this work? Because the hardest part of any habit is simply starting. Once you begin, you are much more likely to continue. When you make the initial step ridiculously easy, you remove resistance. Over time, your brain associates that small action with success, and the habit grows naturally. Step 3. Make good habits unavoidable and bad habits impossible. Most people think discipline is about resisting temptation, but real discipline is about designing your environment for success. You don't need willpower if you never face the temptation in the first place. If you want to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in your house. If you want to read more, keep books in every room. If you want to stop wasting time on social media, remove distracting apps from your phone. Take a look at your current environment. Is it making success easier or harder? Adjust it so that your desired habits are impossible to ignore and your bad habits are difficult to access. Step 4. Use the never miss twice rule to bounce back instantly. Nobody is perfect. There will be days when you miss a workout, skip writing, or eat something unhealthy. But the difference between successful and unsuccessful people is how they respond. Most people fall into the trap of all or nothing thinking. They miss one day and assume they failed, so they give up completely. The solution? The never miss twice rule. If you miss a habit once, make sure you do it the next day. One missed day won't break your progress, but 2 in a row can start a downward spiral. A single slip-up means nothing. Letting that slip turn into a pattern is the real danger. Step 5. Attach a new habit to an existing one. One of the easiest ways to build a new habit is to attach it to something you already do consistently. This method, called habit stacking, works because it ties the new action to an existing routine, making it easier to remember. Here's how it works. After I brush my teeth, I will do 5 push-ups. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write down my top 3 tasks for the day. After I finish lunch, I will go for a 5-minute walk. Over time, these small habits become automatic because they are linked to something familiar. Self-discipline is not about forcing yourself to struggle every day. It's about structuring your life so that the right actions become automatic. The more you understand how habits work, the easier it becomes to design your behavior in a way that leads to success. By mastering the habit loop, using the 2-minute rule, shaping your environment, applying the never miss twice rule, and habit stacking, you can make discipline effortless. The goal is not to rely on willpower, but to make success inevitable. And once discipline becomes part of who you are, nothing can stop you. Chapter 13. The Final Transformation. Unlocking your full potential through discipline. You've come a long way. By now, you understand that discipline isn't about willpower. It's about systems. It's about eliminating friction, designing your environment, and making success inevitable. You've seen how small, consistent actions compound over time, turning effort into instinct and struggle into second nature. But now we arrive at the final chapter, the ultimate transformation. What separates those who merely learn about discipline from those who truly embody it? What makes the difference between someone who reads self-improvement books and someone who actually applies them? The answer lies in identity. Until now, we've focused on what to do, habit loops, environment design, 2-minute rules, and strategies to make discipline effortless. But the final step is the most powerful of all. Becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to force discipline because it is simply who they are. There is a reason why some people seem to have unshakable self-control, while others struggle no matter how many strategies they try. It is because their identity is aligned with their habits. A person who sees themselves as a healthy individual doesn't have to convince themselves to go to the gym. A disciplined entrepreneur doesn't have to force themselves to work hard. A writer doesn't battle with procrastination because, in their mind, writing is simply part of who they are. And this is where most people fail. They focus on actions without transforming their identity. They try to do discipline without truly becoming disciplined. But once your identity shifts, everything else follows. So, how do you take this final leap? How do you move from someone who struggles with discipline to someone who lives it effortlessly? Step 1. Identity-based discipline. Becoming the person who wins. Most people approach change by saying, "I want to lose weight," or "I want to be more productive." But this focuses on outcomes, not identity. The real shift happens when you say, "I am a healthy person," or "I am a disciplined individual." Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. When you skip a workout, you reinforce the identity of someone who gives up. When you push through discomfort, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. Every decision is shaping who you are, so instead of trying to force discipline, ask yourself one simple question before every action. What would a disciplined person do? If you see yourself as an athlete, would you skip a workout? If you were a best-selling author, would you avoid writing? If you were a successful entrepreneur, would you waste hours scrolling through social media? The moment you start acting as if you are already that person, your actions will begin to align. Over time, this solidifies, and before you know it, discipline isn't something you have to try to do. It is simply who you are. Step 2. The 10-year test. Seeing beyond short-term pain. One of the greatest obstacles to self-discipline is short-term discomfort. Waking up early, working hard, exercising, delaying gratification. These things are uncomfortable in the moment, but they are also the price of greatness. To rewire your mind for discipline, use the 10-year test. Whenever you face resistance, ask yourself, if I consistently make this decision for the next 10 years, where will I be? Will skipping this workout make you stronger or weaker? Will hitting the snooze button move you toward success or mediocrity? Will watching one more episode of Netflix get you closer to your goals or push them further away? When you zoom out, discipline becomes obvious. The pain of short-term sacrifice is nothing compared to the pain of long-term regret. Every great achievement was built on thousands of small disciplined decisions that compounded over time. The difference between those who win and those who don't? One group consistently makes the right decisions, even when it's hard. Step 3. Eliminate decision fatigue. How to make discipline automatic. Do you ever feel drained at the end of the day, struggling to make good choices? That's because every decision takes energy. The more decisions you make, the more willpower you deplete. This is called decision fatigue, and it's why people often give in to bad habits later in the day. The solution? Remove unnecessary decisions. Wear the same outfit every day. Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg did this to conserve mental energy. Meal prep so you don't have to decide what to eat. Schedule your workouts at the same time every day so there's no decision to make. Create morning and evening routines that run on autopilot. The fewer choices you have to make, the more mental energy you save for what truly matters. Step 4. The fear of wasted potential. Using regret as fuel. There is nothing more painful than knowing you could have done more. The years pass, and one day you realize you settled for less than you were capable of. That regret is far worse than the discomfort of discipline. Picture yourself 10 years from now. If you keep living the way you are now, will you be proud of yourself? Or will you wish you had been more disciplined? Imagine the version of you that never quit, never got lazy, never made excuses. Imagine the life that version of you would have created. That future is still available to you, but only if you commit now. Step 5. The final shift. Making discipline a non-negotiable. People who struggle with discipline see it as optional. People who succeed see it as non-negotiable. They don't ask themselves, should I do this? They tell themselves, this is happening, no matter what. A professional athlete doesn't feel like training, they just train. A successful entrepreneur doesn't wait for motivation, they execute daily. A musician doesn't practice only when inspired, they practice because it's who they are. If you want to be disciplined, you must remove choice from the equation. Stop negotiating with yourself. Stop making discipline an if or a maybe. Make it a rule. Make it an identity. Make it your standard. Now we come to the end of this journey. You've learned the principles, the strategies, the mindset shifts that separate the disciplined from the undisciplined, the successful from the struggling. But knowledge alone is worthless. The only thing that matters is what you do next. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. You can walk away, tell yourself you'll try to be more disciplined, and fall back into old habits. Or you can commit, fully, completely, with no way back. You can choose to become the person who doesn't need motivation, who doesn't make excuses, who executes daily because that's just who they are. This is your defining moment. This is where the transformation happens. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. Are you ready? Then stop waiting. Stop hesitating. The disciplined version of you is waiting. You just have to step into it.